I'm not the type of person to believe this kind of stuff, especially because I'm not superstitious at all. But these two encounters made me doubt whatever's going on this farm. The first encounter occurred when me and my two friends were having dinner. Everything was calm. We were eating outside, since this was a relatively big space. That was until we heard a woman scream, which was extremely odd, since the country I live in is very calm, with very few criminality or even animal attacks, since we were in the wilderness. I'm the first one to react. I climbed to the wall that separated the house grounds from the animals. From there I could see almost all the houses nearby. My friends got right up after me. We stayed in total silence, waiting for another scream. And we heard it. This time we could understand what she said. Help. She yelled. Then a bunch of gibberish no one could really understand. One of my friends quickly grabbed his phone to call the police, as we assumed it could be domestic violence or robbery. I grabbed my axe. My other friends followed me to the gate. We didn't leave. Nobody knew what we would find, since something sounded odd about those screams. Right before the police arrived, we heard a thud and then glass breaking. I assumed that it was a window. As soon as the police arrived, the screams stopped, never to be heard again. The police found nothing. Later that night, me and my friends stayed up, just chatting about what happened. One of them oddly quiet. When I asked him what was wrong, he simply said, "I've heard those screams before." Apparently he had heard that woman scream a couple of times while he was walking his dog. Next day we got up and decided to go check out the house the screams were coming from. But there was one thing weird about it when we arrived to this place. There was no house. It was forest terrain with nothing more than big trees and bushes. We came back and decided to forget about what happened, since we wanted to just have a good time. No one would ever relate this encounter to a skinwalker, obviously. I didn't either at first. But when it happened twice, I started connecting everything. The second encounter happened with my cousins over, similar to the previous night. We were having a good, peaceful dinner. That's when me and my cousin decided to go for a little walk in the garden that we had. The garden made a frontier with a huge forest, only separated by a small stone wall. We were just talking and laughing when I started to hear a man talking, not in a normal voice. Sounded like there was something in his throat that produced a weird voice frequency. Again, I go and grab my axe, and my cousin calls his sister. We got ourselves near the wall to hear what it was saying. Like the first encounter, we could only understand gibberish coming from him, and he would not stop talking, not even taking breaks to catch his breath. After a while of listening to it, we realized that we couldn't do anything about it, so we left and finished our dinner. They leave and I find myself alone in here. It was quiet, unsettling. Then I started overthinking more and more, and I remember the times that my dog would spend the entire nights barking at the forest when all the existent animals there were wiped out by hunters. I remember the warnings that my parents gave me when I was a child, to always leave that forest and lock all the doors before sunset, regardless of my questions. They would never tell me why, because as I mentioned before, it was a calm little location in a calm country. I couldn't understand why so many worries. It all ended when the lumberjacks came to cut down all of the grown trees, leaving the forest pretty visible. Before the trees were cut down, you couldn't see shit in there, even during the daytime. After they cut the trees and the good weather came, nothing weird happened, and my dog stopped barking at the wall. I would like to know if I'm just being paranoid. To preface this, I'm somewhere in the middle of a skeptic and a believer in the paranormal. So take my story how you will. I'm just recounting what I saw. My dad is from a small village in southern Mexico, in the rainforest. A very third world country type of place. No internet, no hot water, and people still speak Mayan. When I was 18, we visited for the first time when he got his papers fixed, and it was a beautiful experience. The second day we were there was a Sunday, so everyone in the village went to church. We started meeting people, and a very old couple. I don't know what their age was, but they looked like they were 80 plus. They came up to us and started talking to us in Mayan. We don't know it, so our family is translating for us. And long story short, it turns out they are witches and they lived up in the mountains. Every Sunday they come down to church walking, and it takes them about 6 hours to get there and another 6 hours to get back. I brush this off and we go home. A few hours later, they showed up at my grandma's house. My aunt tells my dad, "You have to offer them something and they'll go away and leave you alone." So to play along, my dad does this. He gets 2 bags and fills it with food and drinks. They go on their way, but before they do, the lady walks up to my mom and tells her something in Mayan, with a big smile on her face. They left and my mom asked my aunt what she said. My aunt said the lady had told my mom, "I want to take you home with me and eat you." At this point, the whole situation is weird, and we're not really sure of what to think about this whole witch thing, but it's over. Or so I thought. At around 5:30 p.m., I was bored and decided to go for a little walk to the river about 15 minutes away. When I'm almost there, I noticed it started to get dark, and rain clouds had started to form. I was already almost there, so I decided to keep going. As soon as I get there, it starts to rain like crazy, and thunderstorms too. The sky is now completely dark, and there's no street lights out there of any sort, so it's pitch black. I started walking back, disappointed because I wanted to chill there. 5 minutes into my walk, back in the rain and the darkness, I saw a silhouette about 40 feet away. It was something on all fours, so I thought it was maybe just the family's dog. He would follow us wherever we walked. It seemed like a pretty big dog in this case. I wasn't alarmed. I walked closer and called out his name. As I get closer, I swear to God, I see this thing start to slowly go from all fours to standing up. Keep in mind it's pitch black out there, so all I'm really seeing is the silhouette. I'm not really freaking out at the moment. I think I was too shocked to have really reacted to what was going on. Now getting closer, this thing is standing up, walking. And what would you know? As we walk past each other, I can finally make out what it was. And it was the old witch lady from earlier. From there, I speed walked home and never looked back. I told my family and they told me all of the stories of skinwalkers there, but they never believed in them. We never saw that old lady again after that. Not even at church the next week. I don't know what I saw, but my guess was that this lady is actually a witch and she can skinwalk. So here's my true story, and I hope you enjoyed it. On August 22nd, 2010, my family and my friend all went up north to our cabin in Autrain Township, Michigan. My family had always gone up to the UP as a tradition in the late summer before the next school year started. I was 11 at the time and asked my mom if my friend Megan could come with us. We had been friends for quite some time, and our parents were friends as well. Our parents decided that she could go with us, and we were ecstatic. We were planning to stay up north for about a week. Everything went smoothly those first 6 days and nights. The last night, Megan and myself wanted to sleep outside in a tent. My mom wasn't on board with the idea, so she said we only could do it if my brother slept in a separate tent next to ours. That night, our tents were set up, and my brother was in his, and me and Megan were in ours. We heard my mom yell out, "I love you all. Stay safe tonight." We all replied that we loved her too, and she closed the cabin door behind her. My brother was completely silent afterwards. We figured that he had fell asleep. But Megan and I were whispering gossip to one another. Soon we were able to fall asleep. However, many hours later, I woke up to Megan tapping me on the shoulder. She said, "I have to pee, but I'll be right back. Okay?" Yeah, go," I told her. She unzipped the tent and walked inside. I couldn't go back to sleep, so I stayed there laying and waiting. I didn't have a watch with me, but I could tell about 10 minutes had passed since she had left. I decided I would go inside and check on her and get some snacks. I unzipped the tent and saw her standing about 4 feet away from the front of the tent, gazing at me with a blank stare. "I was coming to check on you and make sure you were okay." She didn't move. "What are you doing?" I said with a nervous laugh. I started walking closer to her. She still wasn't moving or saying anything. "Megan, what are you doing?" I said, getting closer to her. "Come on, this isn't funny. Let's just go back to sleep." I grabbed her hand, which was icy cold. It was the end of August, so that struck me as unusual. I lightly pulled on her, but she just wouldn't walk. She just continued to stare at me. I looked in her now dead eyes. She tilted her head and said, "Hi, Paige." But the voice didn't sound like hers. Something was off. I heard the back door to the cabin open, and I said to Megan, I'll be right back." I took off running to the back side of the house, hoping to find my mom to help me. I turned the corner, and Megan jumped back holding snacks. My eyes widened, seeing her there. There was absolutely no way that she could have made it all the way around the opposite side of the house and grabbed snacks in 7 seconds of my sprint. "Are you okay?" she asked. I tried to stammer out what just happened, but my mind was blank. "Okay, you weirdo. Let's go lay back down." "I just saw you," I blurted out loudly. "Yeah, I know. I'm right here." "No, I just ran away from you, and you're right here now." "You need some sleep. Come on." Thinking it was my own imagination, I walked back to the tent with Megan. When we turned the corner, there was nothing in front of the tent where I saw her before. She made fun of me, calling me crazy, which made me think that I was just tired and imagined the whole thing. I kept it to myself because I didn't want people thinking I was crazy. It wasn't until this day, October 17th, 2018, that I learned about skinwalkers. The Megan that was staring at me that night was not the real Megan. It was a skinwalker. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you would like to hear more of these, make sure to let me know down in the comment section. Make sure to like, comment, and if you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. We're doing nothing but growing. I've got a lot of good content and a lot more coming, including stuff that are coming to the channel members. So make sure to check those out when you get a chance. If you would like to see like bonus content, bloopers, stuff like that, and some stories that are a little bit graphic, if I could say. Make sure to check out the links in the description as well. My Twitter, Instagram, everything like that is in there, including my Gmail, if you would like to submit a story. I would love to tell some subscriber stories. But other than that, stay safe, stay scary, and I'll see you in the next one. I don't know what to say now, so goodbye.